Hello, Star Bears! Welcome to the next Pick a Pile. And the theme for this Pick a Pile is, drumroll please, what do you need to release? Cool thing is, when I was doing my pre-recording meditation, I was asking Spirit what should be the theme for this Pick a Pile, because I had no ideas, and this is the card that fell out. And I thought that's very appropriate, because we're just in between retrogrades, really, in between the Mars retrograde and the Mercury retrograde. So it's a really good time for sorting out what is not serving you anymore in your life, what is holding you back from fulfilling your purpose, from following your dream, from closing one chapter and moving on to the next. It's a very, very common theme going around these days, but it's common for a reason. We're all being invited to figure out those answers. So as usual, this is an intuitive adventure, as I like to call it, where you will be invited to see which pile you are guided towards without second guessing yourself or thinking too hard about it. So we have pile number 1, which is Labradorite. Pile number 2, which is Obsidian. This beautiful obsidian wand. And we have Carnelian for pile number 3. So take a few moments, pause if you need to pick your pile to help you explore the question, what do you need to release? All right. So again, take your time and I'll see you over at your pile. Welcome, pile number 1s, to your Labradorite pile. Let's see what Spirit has to tell you about what you need to release. The first card out is worry. I'm learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. Okay, that's a pretty obvious one. Pretty clear message about what you need to release. Worry. Then we have bring love into the situation. Now, obviously, love is not something we should release, but if you look at this picture, the Aquarius woman is dumping a vase of water out, which is release, which can, in water in the tarot, signifies emotions. So I take this to mean there are some emotions that you need to release as well to make room for love, perhaps. And then we have happy, but it was in reverse. So I'll just read from the book, and I opened up right to it. That's awesome. I love when that happens. The essential meanings are joy and contentment, a sense of fulfillment, a feeling that all is well. But because it was reversed, we do need to read the protection message. Lighten up, because this is the time to be ridiculous and silly. See the world through the eyes of a clown, and don't take yourself or any situation right now too seriously. Have fun, be playful, and make laughter the order of the day. You'll be surprised by how everything just seems to fall into place when humor leads the way. Being happy and lighthearted is a wonderful icebreaker. Life is meant for play as well as work, for laughter as well as tears, for celebration as well as focus. Spirit wants to sparkle through you today. Smile and enjoy each breath and each moment. Miracles lie in the silly things today. Yeah. So it seems that in hanging on to your worry and certain emotions, that's getting in the way of your happiness. So you're probably struggling to feel happiness right now because of things that you're holding on to and not releasing. And then for the tarot portion, we have 4 of Air, Messenger of Fire, which is also the Knight of Wands. Sorry, 4 of Air is 4 of Swords, and I will explain that in a minute. And then we have Emperor. And we have 6 of Earth, which is also 6 of Pentacles. Okay, so let's take a look at these. Four of Air is about taking a break amidst conflict. Four of Air follows Three of Air, or Three of Swords, which is heartbreak, separation, divorce, conflict, disappointment, sadness. It's a heart. It's depicted as a heart with three swords through it out in the rain. The Four of Swords, or Four of Air, is a time of rest, taking care of yourself, stepping out for a breather so that you don't burn out. It's regrouping, recovering. It's also stepping aside and learning from the heartache that just happened, the disappointment. In traditional tarot, it's depicted as a soldier laying down underneath three swords, which represents the Three of Swords that broke their heart, caused suffering. And they're gaining clarity on the situation, having stepped back or having taken a break. Messenger of Fire is also the Knight of Wands. It's sort of the go-get-em energy. It's sometimes depicted as the energy of the player, or the in and out kind of energy. Somebody who's very fickle, somebody who just does whatever they want to do in the moment without really thinking of the consequences. It can be an immature kind of energy, selfish, arrogant. There could be somebody in your life who embodies these qualities, and it's causing you some worry. Maybe you've just had some conflict or been hurt by this person, and you're having trouble letting go of your feelings of hurt or disappointment. You perhaps tried to help this person change in some way, tried to help them, guide them, teach them, but it maybe didn't go the way you wanted it to, and you're worried about them. Perhaps you were trying to be a little bit too controlling, which is what the Emperor embodies. I like to say it's the control freak of the tarot. He is the one who rules all. He rules empires. He embodies the energy of the Four Kings, and in his best energy, he's an organizer and one who has level-headed and thinks clearly and can think several moves in advance, like in a chess game, and can plan. It's a good energy to have if you are planning and organizing, but in its negative state, negative energy, it's being really controlling and manipulative and quick to anger, gets very frustrated when they don't get their way. So perhaps there's been a situation in which there's some imbalance because somebody is trying to control someone else who's a little bit fickle or flaky or quick to make decisions without really thinking about the outcomes. And there's some clash. And the situation really just needs to be brought back to balance. With the Six of Pentacles, it's this exploring, giving and receiving, taking into account how much energy you've put into something and how much you've received. In traditional tarot, it's the image of a person giving out money to needy people, and they're holding a scale. Now, some people interpret that to mean that there's fairness and balance happening, that everyone's being given equal amounts. I tend to see that card actually as representing imbalance, or at least attempting to find balance, but that one person's getting the money, the other person is not. Now, whether they will be given money is up to your imagination. But in this particular deck, there is imbalance on the stag's antlers. You'll see this antler has two pentacles hanging from it, the other one has none. So there is some imbalance here that needs to be corrected. And of course, any situation where somebody is trying to control the other, perhaps even without their willingness to cooperate, without their permission, without their willingness to listen, certainly there's going to be some conflict there. And the need to step aside and take a break, take a breather, Not be worried so much about what somebody else is doing with their life. Perhaps be more concerned about your own. Now, of course, this is going to differ in everyone's situation. Obviously, if you resonate with this message and you are a parent and the person you're thinking of is your child, you know, then you take this with a grain of salt, or you take this as it resonates. Or if this is a relationship situation, a romantic relationship situation, there really is so much, there really is only so much you can do to help someone or try to change someone. And you really just can't change someone else's mind. You can't change someone if they're not willing to change. I feel like you're spending a lot of energy worrying, but worrying about that person isn't going to change the outcome. It isn't going to change them, because they really need to figure that out for themselves. And I think what the happy card is saying is that because it's something it's becoming so prominent in your relationship with this person, your interactions with this person, that it is literally getting in the way of your relationship and your ability to enjoy each other's company. And also in this card, there's stars, which represents healing. So there is healing needed in this relationship situation as well because of this. And as always, bring love into the situation. I actually feel drawn to read from the book for this, which I could have done before, but I feel like doing it now. So we have Aquarius is all about progress and modernity. So this is the time to move forwards. The new moon in Aquarius card means no looking back. Change is on its way, and it could come quickly. Whether you get the change you want depends both on whether you believe you can have it and how much you're relying on others to bring it to you. Oh wow, or in this case, whether you get the change you want depends on whether the other person believes they can have it and how much you're relying on them to change. This card comes with a suggestion that you may need to do things independently on your own, aka find your own inner peace and happiness without relying on this person to make those life changes. But be loving, not too pragmatic. Time may be of the essence when this card comes up. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly there is a sense that you need to let go of the past and move towards your future as soon as possible. An additional meanings for this card is you need to be more detached from this situation, and more pragmatism is called for. Okay, I can see why I felt the need to read that explanation. It is about change, and I'm not saying that these changes are not needed. The changes that you identify the other person needs. Sounds like they might need more discipline, more organizational skills, to be more committed to something. The energy of the Knight of Fire or Messenger of Fire is just not committing to anything. Bounding in and out of situations without really thinking of the consequences or doing the work required to get what they want. They just want it to come immediately. So there definitely is something that the Messenger of Fire can learn from the Emperor. I mean, the Emperor embodies the energy of the King of Wands as well. And the Messenger of Fire is like a teenager energy. And look at the way she's sort of looking over. So this person that you are guiding and helping probably is listening, probably does want some of your advice and help. But it's the worry and maybe being a little bit too forceful or controlling that's maybe getting in the way. But let's move on. We might get some more from these other cards that Spirit selected for you. For the crystal cards, we got Labradorite, which is why your group is the Labradorite group. I just get this feeling of, I see two here, two people, two energies. Maybe they will come together eventually and understand each other, come together in some kind of harmony. The essential meanings are awakening to the magic within, mystery and synchronicity, help from unexpected sources. As we go about our healing work, bringing love and light into the dark corners of our hearts and our lives, we can forget that alongside reason and logic is the very practical tool of magic. Wow, this is about bringing love into the situation, just like the Moonology card. Do you think of magic that way, or did you buy into the notion that the healing toolbox contains only what can be defined, tested, predicted, and controlled by humans and their current technology? Labradorite Spirit is here to tell you to believe in the mystery of how the conscious universe finds ways to support us in healing what is broken, for its ways are magical. And again, the Four of Air is a healing energy. It is a healing, recovering card. You are being called to make a conscious choice to acknowledge the reality invisible to the senses that makes itself known through meaningful coincidences. Pay attention to synchronicities bearing messages from the conscious universe, which is eager to see you replace what you have lost and repair what has become frayed or broken. Can I just stop for a moment to point out that I bothered to break down all the numbers and to bring us back to 11, which eventually was 2, but 11 is one of those really common numerology numbers, angel numbers, signs. When the angels want to communicate with us, they often use 11. And you'll see 1111, or you'll see 111, or just 11. And that is a sign to pay attention. And wow. And this card is talking about signs and synchronicities and the magic of the universe. Listen to the part of you whispering that something small and seemingly insignificant has great importance, for it is speaking the truth of magical synchronicities. I'm not entirely sure how this connects to the message of sort of worrying about someone else's life choices. It could just be that the number 11 is meaningful to some of you that were drawn to this pile. It could be that you will start seeing signs. It doesn't have to be the number 11 regarding this person, perhaps in helping you. Maybe there will be a moment in the future where you're about to overstep or over meddle, and maybe you'll see 11 on your clock, or you'll be given some sort of sign as a way of saying, "Whoa, stop. Put the relationship first before trying to change that person's life or correct every decision they make, or be so quick to prove them wrong or tell them that they're wrong." That could be what this means here. We have the grouse. Express yourself through rhythm and movement by drumming and dancing. I take this to mean you're being invited to have fun with this person. It can mean try moving to the beat of a different drum. Try doing something a little bit different. Maybe grouse means something to somebody out there. Maybe some of you are actually learning how to drum, or you're in a drumming circle, or you are taking a dance class. And that's a way that you can release. Yes, as the subject is, what do you need to release? A great way to release and loosen up is through dancing or making music. I know dance classes and concerts and drumming circles are probably not happening as often these days. But even just listening to music, if you happen to have a drum at home, or you can just dance in your kitchen, in your living room. That's something that I do with my kids sometimes. Just blast some fun music and just dance and be crazy and just have fun. But also release those feelings of tension and worry, those blocked emotions, because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can tell someone everything that they need to know to make the right decisions for their lives, but ultimately only they can decide, and they know what's right for them. Might mean that they have to learn it the hard way. It might mean that they make some less wise decisions and then come around and realize that what you told them was in fact right. But sometimes people do just have to learn things their own way. And there's also the goose. Take time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing your striving. And that is word for word what the Four of Air is. It's about resting and recuperating and not continuing in the conflict and the struggle. Swords are conflict and struggle. They are thought and clarity, but they also represent challenges and communication, blocks to communication. And so yeah, definitely that's a beautiful message from the goose. Take time to rest and recuperate. Whoo, yes, we have the cat. It's time to strike out on your own and relinquish your overdependency on others. This is very interesting because maybe some of you actually resonate with the messenger of fire energy here. I've been talking this whole time as if you, the viewer of pile number 1, is from the Emperor side, the Emperor energy. But this could be read as if you were the other person in this situation. You know, feeling, then definitely you will resonate with the feeling of, I need to figure my own stuff out. I need to be independent. I need to move out, and I need to figure out my own life without somebody always telling me what to do and how to do it. But this could also resonate for the person embodying the Emperor energy, because there is a strange codependency that comes with wanting someone to do things your way, wanting your happiness to be directly connected to the decisions that somebody else makes. That makes you dependent on someone else. If your happiness is completely tied to the decisions they make, the life choices they make. So you need to release, if you are coming from the Emperor side, your overdependency on others to do exactly what you want them to do. And you need to let go of your worry for their lives and their life choices. I mean, you've done what you can. You've told them everything you could possibly tell them. So yeah, that is a very helpful, relevant message here. And last we have the Cardinal. The polarities of your spiritual pursuits and physical pleasures are out of balance, so do whatever is necessary to bring them back into equilibrium. So that's just another way of saying what you are doing in the 3D plane is not matching what your spiritual needs are right now. And what your needs are, as everyone else on the planet, is to find happiness and to bring love into the situation. So just like the 6 of Earth is talking about, you need balance. There needs to be balance. Figure out how much you can give, how much you can keep for yourself. You don't want to overgive, right? Because if you picture scales, and if one side of the scales has way more coins in it than the other, it will weigh heavy. And then you've just given far too much and not left enough for yourself. Of course, we could be talking about energy that you're expending. It could be money. It could very easily be money. If we are in these kinds of scenarios, sometimes it involves somebody giving money to someone else, a parent paying the fees for their child or giving money to their child whenever they need it, as opposed to encouraging them to earn that money themselves. So there's an imbalance here that needs to be corrected. And so for you who were drawn to pile number 1, you are being invited to release your worry and your over control over someone else's life, because it is actually hindering your own happiness and it is affecting your relationship with that person. However your relationship is, or however it plays out, or whatever the dynamic is, because this could go across all spheres, whether it's a boss, employee, parent-child, romantic relationship, friendship. It could play out in any of those contexts, really. And so for your last card, your sort of final advice from the Starseed Oracle, we have Weight of the World. Oh, wow. Yes. Boundaries. Let it go. It is not yours to carry. Oh my goodness. How appropriate is that for the question of what do you need to release? You need to release the weight of the world. Or in this case, the weight of this person's burdens, the weight of this other person's life. You need to have boundaries. Definitely. And for them as well. They probably are creating more boundaries around themselves because of this interaction between you and them. Or again, you can switch the roles. But but you need to let it go. It is not yours to carry. The burdens of this person's life are not yours to carry. And from the book we have, you don't need to carry it all. You're no good to anyone if you're running on empty and bogged down by the weight of the world. Yes, just like the scales we were talking about, if you're putting too much into one end and not enough into the other, which is your own emotional stores, then you don't have much left to give yourself or anyone else. This card is a reminder to look after your own well-being before anyone else's, to stop carrying the world problems on your shoulders, to put on your own oxygen mask first. Oh, wow. In these changing times, it's hard not to feel overwhelmed by the state of the planet. However, you can't take on its problems from a place of energetic depletion, or in this case, the problems of another person. This card is thanking you for caring so much. You want to build a better world and ease the road for others, and that's incredible. Yes, of course, as the Emperor, your motivation, no doubt, is to make the road less bumpy for this person that you obviously care about. But the way you've been doing so is likely unsustainable. This isn't to say you should switch off to the world's problems and become unconscious. Rather, it's a call to establish clear boundaries so you're not constantly taken out energetically. The planet needs you to be healthy, both physically and emotionally. And you, by the way, need you to be both physically and emotionally healthy. So instead of digesting the news or reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up, show up first to a nourishing practice such as meditation, soul inquiry, deep breathing, or exercising in nature. Once you're in a state of grace and your inner well is full, you can face the day, the state of the world, and care for others. And at the day's end, take an energetic shower by emptying out anything that's not yours to carry. That is what you need to release. You can pick it up again the next morning if you so choose, but give yourself time and space to rejuvenate and rest. Yes. Oh, wow. This is a very clear message actually for you, pile number ones. I wasn't sure where this was going at the beginning, but there you have it. I hope this was helpful, and I'm sure all the ways that you've helped this person have been very helpful for them, but you also need to step back, give them some breathing room, give yourself a rest, let go of the worry. Just bring love into the situation. Remove those emotional blockages and the weight of the world, and then you will make room for happiness, both for yourself and for your relationship with that person. Love and light to you. Welcome, pile number twos. You are the ones who picked the gorgeous obsidian wand. So we'll just put this back over here where it belongs, and let's see what Spirit has to tell you about what you have to release. Oh yeah, and I had this card here before with pile number ones, and then I took it away by accident, so I'm just going to put it back. All right, so what does Spirit have to say? We have purpose. I know what I'm here to do. Obviously, that's not something you need to release, but perhaps as we move along, we will see what you do need to release that is maybe getting in the way of you fulfilling your purpose or having a clear sense of how to move forward towards your life goal. We have you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. Now I'm going to read from the book for that one actually. There is a new start coming in your private life. Something is rising up in connection with the people and places you hold dearest. This can be to do with a member of your family, a flatmate, or a moving house. If you're hoping to move forwards with something special in your private life, this card comes to you as a message that you can do it. If you've been neglecting your family, it's time to reconnect with them. If you've been neglecting yourself, you need to take better care of yourself and nurture yourself more. If your insecurity is holding you back, that's something for you to work on now. Doing so could bring you your heart's desire. And some additional meanings are, it's time to review your goals. Have they changed? I feel like that has something to do with your purpose. So there's something you maybe need to release that, and it has something to do with family or loved ones and something to do with your purpose. Next we have the Thinker, number 44. Essential meanings are strategy, being analytical and logical. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment there's no deeper meaning than what is obvious. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple and you will win the game of life you're playing right now. I also feel called to read the prosperity message, as this is somehow connected to your purpose. Calculated action is called for now. It's important to sit down and plan a strategy. Focus on the steps you're going to take to claim your prosperous life. Lists are your friend now, so get out your journal, write down what you're going to do today to signal to the universe that you're serious about attracting abundance. Your plans and strategies will yield wonderful results. Your most effective strategic partner is Spirit. You will win this game, and your triumph will be for the highest good of all. So there we go. There's the notion of having to focus your mind on your goals, reorganize, strategize, and organizing. Let's go on. Interesting. We have 33. The other card was 44. So we've got some synchronicity, some strong master numbers here. 33 is a master number for healing. And 3 and 3 reduces to 6, which is the Lover's card in traditional tarot, but it's also an energy of recovery and healing after chaos. So isn't that interesting? Because this is a chaos and conflict card. The essential meanings are disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. Order. And we were talking about bringing order to things before. So there's a need to bring order to something that is a bit chaotic right now. Opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Wow, that is the whole idea of releasing something in order to move into the new chapter. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control, yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than be understood. I feel like reading the relationship message here because it is about your loved ones. Stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before if you use this time constructively. What a beautiful card to get, actually, when we're talking about release. Releasing to make way for the new. Releasing the old. Closing one chapter to open another. Closing one door to open a window. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to get into the tarot portion. We have 8 of Fire, which is equivalent to 8 of Wands. Page of Earth, the Page of Pentacles. 4 of Water, which is 4 of Cups. The Magician, and 6 of Water, which is 6 of Cups. So, interestingly, the only suit we have missing is Swords. We have Wands, Pentacles, and Cups. However, the Magician has all 4 suits at his disposal to imagine a better future, to imagine what he wants. Okay, so let's dig in a little deeper here. The 8 of Wands, 8 of Fire, is fast movement. It's communication. It's also very passionate, quick-paced action towards getting whatever it is that you want. It can mean travel, but it's change. As it's an 8, it's the energy of transformation. But communication, a very common use of this, a very common understanding of this card is communication coming in to you. We have the Page of Pentacles, Page of Earth. It could be a child in your life, or it could represent childlike energy or immature. But it's also the first signs of something coming to life, the first signs of manifestation, the first signs of something that you're trying to create, something that you've put effort into. You're starting to see the first signs of it materializing. The Four of Water or Four of Cups is disappointment. It's somebody who's been let down before. In the traditional tarot, it's somebody looking at 3 spilt cups, and they're so down in the dumps about it that they fail to notice a 4th cup being offered to them by the universe. A chance for a new beginning. They're not seeing it. They're not seeing this new shiny thing that's being offered to them. They're just so disappointed about the past. So it's about not letting go of the past and being so disappointed. And that's also what Six of Water is about. As you can see, it's about not letting go of the past. It can also mean being visited by somebody from the past, or somebody from the past coming back into your life. But I think in this case, it's just an affirmation of this energy of being disappointed, not letting go of something that happened in the past. And that, I believe, is what you need to release. So there's an event that happened in the past, a conflict, a fight perhaps, and the disappointment and sadness and hurt that came from that conflict or argument that happened is somehow getting in the way of moving forward. And then we have the Magician, which is being aware that you have control over your outer environment. It is the primal energizing force behind new ideas, new beginnings. It's the awareness that thoughts can become things. What you think in your mind can become a reality that you can touch and see, and getting ready to muster your energy to make that a reality. In the Magician's negative state, it can be chaotic, uncontrolled energy, scattered energy, wasted energy. So there's some essence here of scatteredness, because the Thinker card and even this Cancer card is encouraging organization, refocusing your ideas and your goals to follow your life's purpose. So I think something is blocking your life purpose. It has something to do with a family member or a loved one. And it's involved, and there's chaos and conflict. And so some chaos or conflict or argument that happened in the past is making it hard for you to manifest your life's purpose. There's been communication about it, and it hasn't amounted to a whole lot. While this card can represent the first beginning signs of manifestation, the seeds are beginning to sprout, it also can represent not a whole bang for your buck, not a whole lot coming to fruition for all the work you've put in. So this could symbolize that you've already had discussion about it, you've had passionate or enraged or charged conversation, back and forth conversation about this issue between you and someone else, a family member or loved one, and it hasn't amounted to much. It's too scattered. Maybe you're wanting to do something that involves travel and a loved one is not allowing you to do that. Or you are too scattered in your thinking and not able to focus. Because when the Magician's energy is scattered and he doesn't really know what he wants to manifest, it's like firing arrows into the distance, not really aiming at any particular target. They just kind of land where they land, and it's very chaotic. And that's going to definitely get in the way of your purpose. So we have a few more cards here, but before we get to them, I'm just trying to feel this out. This is a tricky one, pile number 2. I think what you need to release is confusion. Yes, there's this conflict that arose between you and a family member, and there's hurt. There's these hurt feelings that you need to release. Perhaps you need to forgive them. Perhaps there needs to be some forgiveness between both of you. You need to make amends, tie up loose ends kind of thing. And by not letting go of your hurt or disappointment from your disagreements that arise from the disagreements between you and this loved one, you're not seeing the opportunity that's being offered to you, that the universe is offering to you. So there's that needs to be released, but there's also just this confusion, this general sense of being unable to focus your mind towards your goal. You need to release that confusion. Perhaps it's feelings that you're not good enough. Perhaps you're worried about your loved ones. This card does say you and your loved ones are safe. Maybe you're confused about your goals, your life purpose, what you feel led to do. Maybe you're confused because you're not sure where that will leave your family or your loved ones. Maybe this purpose involves travel, which I said before, and you're worried about them. Maybe it involves just a dramatic life change or a job change. So something about your purpose is causing confusion. You're not quite sure how to manifest it. You're not finding ways to reconcile with your loved ones about this purpose that you're wanting to do, and so it's causing chaos and confusion, and you're having difficulty manifesting your purpose. So what you need to release is this confusion. Make amends, of course, with your loved ones. Follow your intuition. I know none of these cards have said this, but follow your intuition to see what is the right course of action here. I'm not telling you to abandon your family and friends, and certainly not telling you to abandon your dreams. Maybe there's a way around it so you don't have to choose between both. Because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're pining for the past. As you can see in this card, there's actually a little girl in the reflection, which is representative of her as a child, missing the way things used to be. Maybe this is you remembering your dreams as a child of what you wanted to do with your life, and you're longing to do it. But there's something that is blocking you from achieving your life purpose. So that is what you need to release. So I invite you to ask yourself, if it's not already blatantly obvious, I invite you to explore what is getting in the way of you fulfilling your life's purpose. It's not quite clear what exactly is getting in the way, but I can tell you, I can affirm that there is something blocking you from achieving your life purpose. And it certainly seems to be the conflict that has arisen between you and your loved ones. We have a few more cards here. Maybe they will bring some clarity. We have number 1, Agarine. Don't know how to pronounce that. The essential meanings are integrity, solidarity, impeccability, reliability, consistency. Wow, which is something you don't have in the midst of chaos and conflict. And although we are always evolving, we all possess deeply held values that we do not have to compromise. Your personal integrity matters. So if you're feeling pressure to say yes when your heart says no, or to be something you're not, listen to the message Agarine Spirit brings you. Now is the time to remember the importance of being reliable and impeccable with your word. If you really wanted to say no, don't say yes for now and try to correct your mistake later. People may struggle to accept your truth and your decisions, but stick to them. Be solid and consistent, because what matters to you deep down matters to the conscious universe who loves you. If you're feeling unsure, doubting whether you have a right to take a stand, become still and reconnect with the conscious universe through this crystal. It's not your job to protect everyone's feelings and keep the peace at all costs. Oh, Wow. You don't have to rush about smoothing everything over. Be at peace as you stand firm, for your deepest values are in sync with your purpose, and the conscious universe hold on, rewind. Be at peace as you stand firm, for your deepest values are in sync with your purpose. And the conscious universe wants you to feel and be strong right now. Wow, that's a very strong message in one direction. What you need to release perhaps is this feeling that you owe people something. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't owe them sacrificing your life's purpose. I don't know. It totally depends on your individual situation. The prosperity message, which I feel drawn to read, is: now is a time to be unfailing in your adherence to your values. Know where you are willing to bend and where you are not. Be in touch with what matters most to you, knowing that abundance takes many forms and will show up in many ways. Be fully present and impeccable in your financial transactions and dealings. If you have money decisions to make, meditate on what fair looks like. You will have greater clarity about where to make a stand and where a little compromise feels right. Now I'm going to slip this in back to the other section I want to say. This could also mean that what's stopping you from following your dreams and your life purpose is your concern about your family. But you're being encouraged that they will be safe, that you will be safe and they will be safe. So this could mean that whatever decision you make won't affect them negatively as you think it might. That's perhaps one interpretation to take from this. See if that resonates. Then we have Euclase, which is 23, which reduces to 5 the energy of conflict and chaos. The essential meaning is wisdom from within, inner truth, aligning with divine intelligence, trusting your own earned wisdom. Oh, interesting. The other card was about trusting yourself as well, trusting your sense of what's right. Wow. When you're distracted by all the noise and stimulation that are part of our lives now, it can be hard to trust that you have what it takes to make wise choices. Ooh. The appearance of the Euclase spirit is a sign that valuable insights can be found through tapping into your intuitive intelligence. Isn't that funny? Before I said something about, I know the reading didn't say anything about intuition, but I feel like you need to listen to your intuition. And now we have 2 cards about listening to your intuition. When it comes to knowing the truth, there is no substitute for lived experience that has been recalled and examined. The process of alchemy, that's where the magician comes in. Your experiences have generated wisdom that can guide you when you feel lost or confused. Lost and confused. You know more than you think. Trust your inner wisdom, for it is guided by the conscious universe. You are learning that fear can distort your intuitive intelligence, so release any worry and tune in within. Believe me, not all these cards talk about release, but this one does, because that's what we're talking about here. I'll read that again. You are learning that fear can distort your intuitive intelligence, so release any worry and tune in within. You have a vast library of knowledge available to you and wise and loving guidance that will help you. Yeah, so I think you are concerned about a decision that you're making that involves your life purpose, which could involve a big change, and you're worried about how that will affect your loved ones and your family. You're being encouraged that not only are they safe, but others will maybe take care of them, or others will take care of you. There is some encouragement here that everything will be all right, if this resonates for you. And the last of the crystal cards we have is Numite. Achieving self-mastery, inner power, recovering your sense of self. Evidence of progress can seem elusive at times, but when Numite spirit appears, it is a sign that you might be underestimating how far you have come. Our minds are conditioned to pay attention to the negative and overlook all that is good in our lives, including the results of our efforts over time. You may not have received a big blue ribbon or parade in your honor, but the conscious universe acknowledges and celebrates all your hard work mastering your fears. Make peace with the part of yourself that tells you that whatever you do, it will never be enough. You are developing mastery, and there will be times when you feel as if your progress is slow and inadequate, but you are called now to acknowledge that you have indeed persevered, learned much, and not given up. Doing so will help you to stay the course rather than veer off track. Yes, and you are being invited to reorganize your thoughts, refocus, reprioritize amidst the scattered thoughts, right? It's important to stay the course rather than veer off track. Be gentle with yourself as you master the challenges you always seem to overcome somehow. You're getting better at this thing called life, at building healthy relationships and prosperity, and at knowing and loving yourself as much as the conscious universe does. Give yourself credit and keep practicing. We are all learning, and New Might Spirit's here to tell you that the conscious universe is watching and is so very proud of you. Now 8 and 3, this is a 38, 8 and 3 reduces to 11. That is a magical angel number. It's starting to build the foundations. If you think about the number 1 and another 1, they come together, they make 2, and those are the beginnings of something new. And I'm going to read the prosperity message. Dig into the earth, and you will soon realize that layers upon layers of soil and rock have built up over time. And this is a lesson for how to build a foundation in the material world to help you feel more secure. Your true prosperity will always lie in your relationship with the conscious universe, your co-creator. New Might Spirit's here to remind you that outer conditions will soon begin to reflect your intention to own your natural abundance. Wow, that's very much about the magician energy, is focusing your intentions on what it is you want. But you must practice the art of building wealth, which might feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable to you. Take time today to honor yourself for how far you have come and the discipline you've shown in methodically working to master your fears about not having enough and about not being up to the task of wealth building. Abundance within, abundance without is what the conscious universe wants for you. And by the way, that might have something to do with your worries for your family and your loved ones. Not having enough money. Perhaps you feel if you're pursuing your life purpose, you won't make enough money for your family. And that's causing confusion and an uncertainty about what direction to go. But you're getting there incrementally. Each time you commit to practice and consciously repeat the actions you know are healthy and in alignment with abundance. Now remember, abundance doesn't always lead to material wealth instantly. And abundance doesn't always mean material wealth. It can mean emotional wealth, relational wealth. It can mean love, healthy family relationships, having everything that you want. And a lot of times pursuing what it is that you want, what it is that you love, will bring material wealth eventually. Mastery arises from conscious repetition, so know what you need to do and do it. The conscious universe is with you. So yes, aside from releasing confusion and whatever's blocking you from your life purpose, also release your fears that you're not good enough, your fears that it won't make enough money, your fears that it will create division and conflict between you and your loved ones. Next we have the animals. We have the hawk. Focus, choose your priorities, and eliminate all distractions. Yeah, that basically sums up the whole thing. This whole reading, pile number 2, is release the distractions. And the distractions are the hurt and the pain from the previous conflicts, the confusion, the lack of focus, the fears. Those are all distractions that are keeping you from being focused on your priorities, your purpose. Okay. Then we have Lizard, Dream Time. Pay attention to your dreams and visions. I love when this card comes out because it's sort of an indication that you might get some answers in your dreams. You might get some clarity or answers in a vision if you take some time to meditate or just have some quiet time and be open. And again, we talked about intuition before. This is an intuitive card. This is about paying attention to your inner voice and what your inner voice is telling you. Certainly this is a very precarious situation, it sounds to me, which is why I don't want to give you any direct answers. I'm encouraging you to follow your intuition, ask your higher guidance what the next best step is. But ultimately, we all want to be following our life purpose. So you need to release whatever is keeping you from that clarity as well. The clarity and the focus and prioritizing your next courses of action. We also have the tiger. You're being called upon to provide leadership, so trust that you're capable of doing so. Yes, your fears of not having mastery over what it is you want to do, of not being good enough, of not having put enough work into it, you are overthinking. While the thinker card didn't come out reversed, it can indicate overthinking, having analysis paralysis. That certainly sounds like something that's going on here as well, over analyzing, and that's kind of stopping you in your tracks. Okay? Maybe this life purpose, this goal involves teaching, being a leader, helping others, guiding others, or maybe even just within your family or relationship context. You got the most cards out of this pick a pile reading, pile number 2. It's quite a complicated reading. So the last 2 cards we have here for our closing, and hopefully we'll give some more clarity and advice. We have Child of the Cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. Oh, beautiful. And this is about intuition as well. There's a mysterious force that governs all of life, an intelligence that tells flowers when to bloom and the tides and seasons when to come and go. That intelligence is within you too. It was there before you drew your first breath, and it will be there well beyond your last. It's the part of you that informed every cell what to do and when you were in your mother's womb. It's harder to resist this force than it is to surrender to it. Because Earth is a planet of polarity and free will, it's easy to forget that this intelligence exists within us. So often we become disconnected from this pulse of life and fall into the pattern of believing that we're separate, or feeling that we need to go it alone. We can feel isolated and as if we need to figure things out by ourselves, to rely on our own strength. You're being called to remember the intelligence that's within each and every one of your cells. To remember that you're a precious child of a loving, gentle universe. That you have access to all of the intelligence, wisdom, strength, flow, and qualities there ever were, are, or will be. And to remember that if flowers know exactly when and how to bloom, then you do too. And the Starseed Soul Inquiry is, how can you surrender more deeply to the intelligent flow of life? Wow. And then we have double mission. This might say something to your purpose. The Lightworker Starseed, serve the world by being you. Lightworker Starseeds are mission and purpose oriented. Many have the feeling that time's running out and there's something they came here to do, create, or contribute. They're here to grow as souls individually, an individual mission, and also to contribute to the planet in some action-oriented way. Which would be a collective mission. Their collective mission is often answered through a career calling or by devoting their life to something bigger. Until they remember their collective mission, it can feel as if something's missing or that they're forgetting something important, which could be connected to the scattered thinking and inability to focus. It's common for Lightworker Starseeds to feel that they're different, and they may carry soul memories of being visible or sharing their voice. As such, they may protect themselves by dimming their light in order to fit in, or by spending time in some sort of closet, such as a spiritual closet. If you pull this card, you are being called to remember your collective mission and step into it even more fully. You're being reminded that your role as a lightworker is to light up the world with your presence. This doesn't have to be a great big thing or a decision you need to make. You also don't need to have a great big plan. If you resonate with being a lightworker, all you need to do is work out what lights you up, your passions and joys, and keep doing that. When you trust and follow the simple path of things that light you up, and then lose yourself in the doing, you'll light up the world without even trying. And the question here is, how can you serve the world by being you? And just like that, I knew these cards would help give some clarity. So it sounds to me, oh, and by the way, if you're wondering, what's a starseed? What's a light worker? In short, a starseed is the concept that there are other beings from other planets, not just on Earth, and that some of us on this planet can be connected to those other beings and life forms. And a light worker is somebody whose purpose and mission on Earth is to bring light. To bring light and love. And it can be as in a healing role. It can be as a teacher. It can be somebody who is like a life coach or guides other people. If you think of it in terms of somebody standing on a hill holding a lantern in the midst of darkness, it's somebody who sheds light on the darkness. And people are drawn to that light so that they can see better. So that won't resonate for everyone, but it is the general idea that you have a purpose and to not let the conflict get in your way. I was interpreting it before as you needed to release, that you had to resolve all of this and make these big life changes to fulfill your purpose, but it sounds like that could be the case for some of you, but for others, it might mean that nothing as drastic has to happen. Simply by being true to yourself, you will make changes in the world. You can follow your purpose by doing what you're already doing. Maybe you feel like you need to make big changes in order to follow your life purpose, and it's creating conflict within you and with your loved ones and causing you to go into analysis paralysis, but really, and to have scattered energy. Maybe all of this was to say that you need to release all that confusion, all the fears, all that feeling, all those feelings that you don't have what it takes to be a light worker or to be somebody who can make a difference in the world or follow your life purpose, whatever that might be. To release all of that in order to fill your life purpose. I certainly hope this made sense to some of you, and I think there are elements of this reading that would resonate for some people and not for others, and vice versa. Most importantly, just remember that you are not alone. You do have higher guidance supporting you, guiding you, showing you the way, and you also have your intuition, which is very on point and impeccable. Love and light to you. Welcome, pile number 3, the Carnelian pile. Let's see what Spirit has to say to you regarding what do you need to release. First, we have grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Grief is something that a lot of us are feeling right now on a global scale because life as we know it is over, or at least for now. And so there is that grief felt about that. It could also be on a personal level, grief that you are feeling about something or someone that you have lost. Whether it is a person or a pet or a job or a friend. We also have a new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra. I've been seeing a lot of scales lately. A lot of cards with scales on them. Things are being balanced and righted. They are. May not feel like it right now, but they are. Then we have adjustments are required. Yes, exactly. Being balanced. The image comes to mind of a scale being adjusted. So if you've ever played with scales and you've got like a pile of pebbles on one and a pile another and in the other, and then you've got to remove a few from one side to the other to make adjustments, but they're all varying weights, and so it takes adjustments, right? Maybe you put too many on one side and it weighs heavy, and then you take some off and put them on the other one, and then that one weighs heavy. So it takes some adjustments. I don't know why I went into that, but I just felt like that there. Actually, I think I'm going to read from the book for this one. Adjustments are required. Third quarter moon. Think of yourself as a vessel that has been filled more and more over the past few weeks. Some of what has come your way may have been wonderful, but there's also a lot of negativity, and you need to let go of this. Ooh. So what do you need to release? Maybe it's negativity. Whatever situation you're asking about now, be honest about whether there are toxic emotions involved which you need to release into the ethers. I kid you not, that is what it says in the book. That you need to release into the ethers. This card also comes with the promise that all is not lost. However, there are changes or adjustments required before you will get to where you want to be. A change of course is forecast now. That recent events have been understood and acted upon. There may also be a crisis now, which will remind you what you want and what it's time to let go of. So pay attention. Additional meanings for this card, and here's why I went on my little display about scales. Your life may be out of balance, and this may be causing your issues. It may be time to hatch a whole new plan. It also says something new and exciting is around the corner. And look, a new romantic cycle begins. Okay, this is getting interesting. Where are we going next? We have mending, which was in reverse. It's 52, which reduces 5 and 2 reduces to 7, and that's making decisions, weighing options. Literally means that. So it's in reverse. So the protection message is heartbreak is a strange healer of souls. Our grief, our grief. Oh, a lot of synchronicities already in this pile number 3. Our grief strips away our masks and loosens our tight hold on our separateness. Where we view ourselves as I and the world as it, loss allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger scheme, opening us up to sympathy, empathy, and dependence on others in the moment when we can't hold ourselves together. And it leads us to become one with the greater whole again. Pain and suffering is part of life, and none of us will be immune to it. Can you view this loss, this pain, this dissonance as a way back to source? Let your sorrow break your heart wide open. You will never be left behind. You are loved now more than ever by Spirit, who does not want you to feel alone. One day you will look back and know this truth. Beautiful message. Already I'm starting to think that you've had a heartbreak or disappointment in a relationship, and a relationship has ended, and you are feeling grief over the loss of the relationship. And perhaps the grief is what you need to release. Perhaps there are other things, feelings of resent, low self-esteem, hatred even towards the other person, maybe self-limiting beliefs, disparaging thoughts. I could go on. There are a lot of other cards here, so let's see what else came out. We have 5 of Earth. Yes. 5 of Earth is 5 of Pentacles, which is the energy of feeling left out in the cold. We'll get back to that later. Ace of Water, which is also Ace of Cups. Ooh, there's something good there. We have Temptation, which is also the Devil card in traditional tarot. We have 5 of Fire. There's another 5. Wow, 2 5s, which is conflict and tension. And then we have the Hermit. Okay, so let's look at these a little bit more closely. You also have 5 cards that came out, pile number 3. So yes, as I said, 5 of Pentacles is feeling left out of the cold, feeling like you no longer belong somewhere, or you were kicked out of some establishment or some group of friends, or you lost all your money, or you lost your job, or you lost something in the material world, and you feel abandoned, betrayed, unwanted. So considering what we've got here so far, I'm gonna say that it was loss of a relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic, although it does say romantic cycle here, and you're feeling abandoned, unloved, unworthy. But we do have Ace of Cups, which is a beautiful energy. This means new love is coming. New love is coming, the promise of something new, exciting, something that will make you happy, something that will make you feel love again is coming, which would be why you need to release the feelings of resent, the feelings of being unworthy and unlovable, because those will only get in the way. You have a new romantic cycle coming, which is accentuated by the Ace of Water here. This beautiful seahorse is coming to bring you a new love opportunity. Okay, and in this deck, this is I love this rendition of the Devil card, because it could be read so many different ways. The Devil or Temptation card is about, unhealthy attachments or temptation, something that tempts you away, an unhealthy thing that tempts you away from other things you should be doing. But it can also mean, and I've used this meaning in other readings, it could mean doing what you love. Going after something that will bring you peace and comfort and enough money and enough food. It can mean that, and here we have a heart for love. But I think in the context of what do you need to release, the Devil can also be toxic attachments to something, or feelings and emotions that are toxic. Now, the interesting thing too behind the Devil card is that it's in traditional tarot, it's depicted as a man and a woman chained by the devil. However, the chains are so big, they can get out of them themselves. They have the power to remove them themselves. They can choose. So it's sort of a self-imposed restriction. If it's toxic attachment, it's something you brought on yourself and you can get out of it. You have the freedom to get out of it should you so choose. So I think given the fact that we are talking about grief and we're talking about broken relationships here, which is what the mending card is about, and feeling left out in the cold, resent. And in traditional tarot, it has two people leaving a building who look rather forlorn and dejected. One of them even has crutches. So it seems they really needed help and they didn't get it. They just felt very abandoned and unloved. However, in the traditional tarot, you can see the window, the stained glass window of a church in the background, which implies that they're still being watched over by the divine, or that there are people watching them. This could imply that as a new romantic cycle is about to begin and a new love is coming in, it could imply that while you are feeling abandoned and alone and left out in the cold and betrayed, there is somebody watching you. And as you can see in this, there's this little bird watching her. She doesn't necessarily see the bird. She's so caught up in her grief, but she's being watched and cared for. Okay, so this could totally have a double meaning, because while I see this as you needing to release your toxic feelings, and of course anything that sits stagnant for too long can become toxic, right? If you think of a glass of water that has muck and dirt just sitting in there, it just eventually algae forms and slime. I just have to tell you, I ordered lotus seeds online, these cute little bonsai lotus seeds, and I sprouted them from their little seed pods, and they sprouted and started to make little lily pads. And so I bought these nice big vases, and I followed all the instructions. I got clay and sand and nice little pebbles that I put on the bottom, and then I'm seeing the lotuses grow and become these cute little lily pads. However, it's like they became little swamps. And like the water is just so dirty all the time. It literally smells like a pond in my, when I stand near my vases of the lotuses, because there's so much algae and gunk and slime and muck that's built up in these cute little vases. And I'm like, what's going on? So I'm hoping that that's part of the natural process for lotuses. But in the context of what I'm saying here, it's like what was once nice clear water where I could see all the different colored pebbles perfectly in the sand and the clay and the nice little, lotus stems. Now it's just murky water that literally bubbles from time to time. I'm like, what am I creating? It's this weird science experiment. But anyway, the water that gets stagnant, it just gets kind of toxic and gross. And so that's kind of like, I am going somewhere with this. The emotions that lay stagnant inside of you. For those of you that this makes sense, when emotions sit in your different chakras along your spine, it becomes a blockage and prevents free flow of energy, and then can cause illnesses, can cause problems, and can manifest in body pains and aches and other things. So you want to be releasing your negative emotions. Certainly go through the proper grief process. Don't sweep it under the rug. That's not what I'm saying. Go through the proper grief emotions that you need to do to get over this relationship that ended or friendship. But then allow them to flow through you freely and be clear again, so that you can be ready for the next chapter and move forward into the next romantic cycle or into this next relationship that you are about to enter into. So the double meaning of this card, not just toxic emotions that you need to release, but also to allow yourself to take a bite of that new apple that will give you new love. And 15, 5 and 1 reduces to 6, which is the number of the Lovers card. And interestingly, the Lovers is kind of the opposite of the Devil card. The Devil card's like the antithesis to the Lovers card. It's about choice. Do you want the choice to be made with positive emotions or negative toxic emotions? I'm just going to leave that there like that. And then we have 5 of Fire, which is another conflict card. It's 5 of Wands. It can be seen as conflict over something you're passionate about, something that you believe, spiritual beliefs, or something that you want, something that you desire. It's conflict, but it could also be seen as healthy competition or training. In traditional tarot, it's just 5 kids fighting each other with wands. So it can have an air of playfulness. And here we have 2 kids sewing together. So actually I'm seeing a connection between, oh, look at that. These are 2 different decks, and yet they both have like fairy like kids on these cards, fairy like people. So I'm going to draw a connection to these 2 cards. And okay, and look at this too. We have sort of this string of flowers. I don't know what those are called. There's like a string of flowers, and here they've got a string of flags that they're mending. So if this card is the conflict, you know, what was broken from the conflict, from the ending of this other relationship? What was broken in your heart, in your confidence, in your self-esteem, in your heart, in your sense of self-worth and how lovable you are? What was broken in that conflict can be mended. And look at this, there's 2 butterflies, which is kind of like a foreshadowing to things getting better again. If you see these 2 fairy-like girls being foreshadowed in these butterflies. This is such a beautiful, like, light at the end of the tunnel kind of message. Even in a time of conflict and disappointment, maybe you feel you lost in the game of love. You lost at relationships, or you're a loser at relationships. There's always something new and better waiting for you. Things can be mended again. But before perhaps going into this next romantic relationship that is coming, take some time alone to think, to be introspective, to recover, to heal. The Hermit is an energy of taking some time alone, remembering what it is you truly want, recalibrating, reevaluating, being introspective, meditative, resting, thinking about what you can learn from what took place, deciding what door you want to open. And before you leave the hermitage, before you leave your metaphorical space of taking a time out and figuring out what you want, you will gain clarity on what door you want to open, and therefore which key to take with you. The Hermit is an energy of learning from the past and taking what you've learned with you as you move forward. So don't just leap from one relationship to the next. That's never a good idea. Doing things on rebound. But sounds to me like you need to release this ex. Release your ex. Release the person from the past. Release the negative feelings that come from whatever took place with this relationship ending. Don't take it personally. Don't let it do permanent damage to your confidence and sense of self-worth. Now we've got some crystal cards. We have pyrite. The essential meanings are inherent value, knowing your worth, self-appreciation, genuine abundance, and prosperity within. Throughout the ages, humans have sought the gems of the earth, the crystals whose beauty delighted the eye and whose powers could aid them in their quest to achieve a sense of safety and abundance. They recognize the intrinsic value of these gifts from nature, and when Pyrite Spirit appears, you are meant to appreciate the abundance that the conscious universe has provided, an abundance of opportunities, resources, support, and most importantly, love. A scarcity mentality will prevent you from seeing all that is available to you. Scarcity mentality, that is one of the toxic beliefs that you might be attached to. You are called now to offer thanks for the myriad gifts you've been given to help you achieve balance. Balance! There's the scales again. As you take your healing journey, you will find it easier and easier to recognize that you will always have what you need. Abundance awaits as you ready yourself to claim it. The conscious universe has your back. What you need will not be denied you at this time, so open yourself to receiving it by practicing appreciation. The relationship message is, Pyrite Spirit has a clear message for you. Observe and appreciate the inherent value in your experiences and relationships. Yes, take some time to recognize what you can take from your past relationship, regardless of how much pain it caused you. See what you can learn from it, and that's what the Hermit is about as well. See what you can learn from it. Those small moments of joy as you interact with the ones you love, those people around you who offer you support, do you stop to appreciate the cumulative effects of your relationships with those who enhance your life? Today is the perfect day to do so. As you look at the inherent value of things, notice the wealth of wisdom you are gaining as a result of a variety of experiences with a diversity of people. Pay attention to whether your relationships have inherent value. Are some simply ones you have accumulated, perhaps even starting to detract from your life? If they have no inherent value, let them go, for you are meant to experience relationships rich in love and support. Yes, so perhaps this relationship that you just came out of, as hard as it is, was not going to last forever anyway, and not good for your life purpose. We have Carnelian, increased confidence, dignity, poise, and self-assurance. The relationship messages, there's strength in allowing yourself to be vulnerable. After all, intimacy and trust can only be built if you let yourself be seen as you really are. Be confident in all that you have to offer a partner, and know the conscious universe wants all of your relationships to nourish you, which is why you need to leave them when they don't. Carnelian Spirit is here to remind you of how wonderful you are. Rest assured that as you experience your dignity and hold your head high, others will recognize that you are a pillar of strength and a beautiful, unique spirit. You deserve the relationship that you want for yourself. Be assured the conscious universe is working to see that you have it. Yes, my battery's about to die, so I'm going to go through these animals real quick. We have the gorilla. Take the time to listen compassionately to those you love, especially your family members. That could also be friends, right, who are helping you and guiding you through this time of sorting through your grief and moving through it. We have Raven, magic, own your power. Yes, you have so much to offer someone. You are lovable, you are worthy, you are valuable. Do not forget that. Own that fact. And then we have Lynx, discernment. Look beyond immediate appearances. Just because a relationship has ended doesn't mean there won't be another one around the corner for you if you are feeling kind of hopeless in that area. It's coming. And you know what? This is a beautiful message to end on here that you've got from the Starseed Oracle, which is, if I can get it, you got the love. Woo! Hadrian energy, codependency, boundaries. The Hadrians are believed to be beacons of pure, divine, unconditional love who see love in all people and situations. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaried, interdependent, healthy relationships because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love while in a separate body, to learn to love self first and then establish healthy relationships with others. Yes, that is what you need to do in your hermit time, okay? Regain that sense of love for yourself. To remember that the love they seek is already within them, that they truly do have the love all on their own. Ask yourself, do you lose yourself in relationships? How can you develop a deeper love for yourself? There's more to this. I'm going to stop here though before the battery dies. But what you need to release is this X, the negative feelings that came from the breakup. You are not alone. You're not unloved and unlovable. You are worthy and valuable. You are gold. Okay, so you need to release all of that. Take some time to recover and heal. Regain your sense of self-worth and love for yourself and independence. And then, love is coming. New love is coming for you. Okay? So hang on to that belief. Trust that something good is around the corner coming for you. And best of luck as you work through this time. Release what is not serving you, those negative toxic feelings, and just have fun as you move into this next stage and romantic cycle. Love and light to you. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your feet. Figure out how much which is your own personal emotion, or some things are non-negotiable. Magician, I get the sense that collective mission, which would be a collective mission. Their collective mission, well, most importantly, I think it's important. If you've ever tried to balance, you know, several pebbles, perhaps perhaps